We started with a simple plan.
We wanted to redesign a life together where we could be close to our food and nature.
To have more time to spend with each other and with our cats.
Have the opportunity to learn about sustainable living, permaculture, and maybe even beekeeping.
So we bought a bus, left Los Angeles, traveled to the Midwest to stay with family, while we converted our bus into a tiny home on wheels.
Before we could convert our bus, we had to remove all the existing interior so that we could custom build it just the way we wanted. The demolition took much longer than we planned and was much more difficult than we expected.
But it brought us closer together.
So close, we decided to get married.
With only 2 weeks to plan the wedding, we got a little distracted from bus work.
With the demolition behind us, we're finally ready to start building our tiny home on wheels.
We started with a simple plan.
But maybe it wasn't so simple.
The first big step in our bus build would be getting our floors down.
I can't wait to get a floor in this thing. I can't tell you how many times I've fallen through the openings in the bus over the last 2 months.
Or how many pencils and screwdrivers we have dropped down into open areas. Ta-da!
So we're thrilled to be preparing the wood that would go down as our subfloor. It was raining, so we were forced to work in the garage. When we ripped out the floor, they had this stuff, and we can't figure out what it is. It's probably got some kind of fire retardant or something in it. I called around, I looked around at hardware stores and talked to some auto parts store. They had no idea, so we just moved forward. Used this plastics stuff. It is 100% recycled from post-consumer plastics.
But just like everything on our bus journey, it did not go without error.
Such a noticeable warp in them.
Uh-oh.
What?
It says this side of the panel is treated to accept water-based adhesive. Did we do it the wrong way around?
Unfortunately, we didn't read the directions.
We glued the wrong side of the plastics down, like the one side's treated to work better with the glue, to glue it to the wood, and we put the wrong side down,
So we got 2 that are done the wrong way. We're gonna leave those there, and then we're gonna do the other 2 the proper way, and hopefully those will be the ones we use in the important areas. So now that we got the insulation that was originally in the bus all dried and cleaned up, vacuumed again and again, now we got to figure out where it goes, how to get it all to fit in these spaces. It's going to be a little bit like Tetris.
but we seem to be missing some pieces. Yeah, and then the next step is to put the spray foam insulation into the other gaps in the floor, but because it's raining, we can't open everything up, and we need to do that when we can ventilate the bus properly. So we're gonna have to wait until it stops raining. The next day was sunny, so we painted the plywood with kills.
we decided we would seal up our other sides of the bus's subfloor and ended up using this paint called Kills. It's a latex paint and it should be mold and moisture resistant, which would be great.
And they dried pretty quickly because it's pretty sunny and hot today.
We wanted to run that plastics covered plywood over the open area. There's actually areas that go down to the ground in that area, so that it would have an extra plastic seal between our subfloor and the ground. Ooh, it's getting warm in here. So now we're gonna test the spray foam insulation.
Yeah, we heard it expands quite a bit, so we decided to just do a little test area first.
I sprayed it so it was underneath the level, and I figured if it didn't expand, we could use it.
Yeah, it expanded quite a bit.
Have to keep that in mind as I work with the spray foam. So we got married yesterday.
Our wedding yesterday, we had a private ceremony. It was very nice and very special, just right here in Don's parents' garden. We're now Mr. and Mrs. Boudin. We had a ceremony, and then we're gonna go to Paris and Crete on a honeymoon. On our way down to South Africa, where we'll go join my family for a wedding party celebration. Then we'll come back and do our America wedding party celebration after that. We will bring you with for some of the honeymoon. Not all. But back to work straight away, right?
Yep, decided we'd spend the day putting some spray foam insulation in the bus.
I've been uncomfortable with spray foam from the beginning. It's not the most environmentally friendly thing to do.
On the areas where we have a really shallow depth, I'm just going to use it to seal in that existing insulation.
Well, this foam needs more. This writing is tiny.
But just sealing it in around the edges and in those corners and hard to reach places, I think that's all I'm going to be able to do with it for those shallow areas. The plan was never to use these cans for the whole bus. The plan was just to use these to seal little areas. My thought has always been we would buy 2 systems spray foam insulation to do the sealing because I know we need to get the highest R value we can. I guess this is the part where we'll continue to say we don't know what we're doing.
We don't know.
And we're just trying to figure it out. If you have experience, if you know what you're talking about with spray foam, I'd love to know. Please comment below.
I'm starting to get comfortable with just going with the process. We have a deadline kind of set, but I'm starting to go, well, maybe we won't make that deadline, and that's okay, but what's important is that we create a good goal. The next day we started getting measurements to cut the floorboards.
So before we get started today, I'm going to start up the bus, let it run for a while, and hopefully we didn't destroy any of our air system, because that's what opens and locks the luggage bays as well as our brakes. So fingers crossed, I'm going to start it up. If the beeping sound stops, then we're okay. Haven't started it for a month, so I'm a little nervous. The bus is dead.
With only a week before we leave on honeymoon, we're starting to feel the pressures of getting our floors done.
Things are just not going my way today.
And with the bus not starting, we weren't sure if we'd damaged something important during the demolition. But we'll share that with you next time.